we are bringing your attention to the common phrase, bee populations are declining at an alarming rate, brought to you by the Bees Needs movement. This statement is a rather familiar statement nowadays. With the arrival of spring, flowers are blooming. However, without the critical pollination from bees, flowers would not be able to reproduce. This is caused by an increase in the widespread use of pesticides, climate change, and lack of habitats. There has been a considerable population decrease in various bee populations. Our plan today is to bring attention to the declining bee populations, how this affects the environment, and how you can help. First, we have Kristen Taylor out in the field discussing the decrease in the bee population.
Thanks for that lovely introduction, Lauren. As stated, we are going to discuss the decrease in bee populations. According to an article by Moran and his colleagues, published in the Journal for Insect Conservation and Diversity in 2017, 59% of honeybee colonies have been lost between 1947 and 2005, and it is hypothesized that the heavy metal pollution is negatively affecting these bee populations. Survival, reproduction, and population dynamics were all analyzed in regards to this bee, Osmia rufu, and it was found that there is a negative relationship between heavy metal pollution and various fitness parameters of the wild bee studied. Additionally, in a study by Jacobson and colleagues, published in the journal Biological Conservation in 2018, evidence of drastic decline was found in the 4 bee species, Bombus affinis, Bombus fervidus, Bombus terricola, and Bombus vaginus, after analyzing 150 years of Bombus records from the state of New Hampshire. That being said, the bee population has been seen to decrease, with the majority of these losses occurring in the second half of the 20th century, and this overall has negative effects for our environment. Back to you, Lauren.
Thank you, Kristen, for that expert analysis on the decline in bee populations in our world. Many of you may be wondering, what are the implications of this problem? We have Phoebus coming in live from West Lafayette, Indiana. Phoebus, how do you think this crisis affects our environment?
Well, that's an interesting question. Now, without bees, the environment would be losing one of its main pollinators. According to Goshen and colleagues in their 2015 article submitted to Science, if pollination fails, the ecosystem will erode, and we will lose several reliable sources of staples. Along with the decrease in wildflower abundance and diversity, they also note that 75% of agricultural crops are reliant upon cross-pollination to flourish. Furthermore, the need for pollinators in agricultural crops has seen a significant increase in recent years. Considering that bee populations have been correspondingly plummeting, there are many concerns about a pollination crisis that could negatively impact crop yields. An example of the effects of this bee shortage can be seen with the California almond orchards, which find themselves needing to import honeybees from all over the U.S. to pollinate their over 800,000 acres of trees. In summary, the dropping bee populations are having very serious impacts on both the ecological and economic stability.
Thank you, Phoebus. We now understand how this decline is affecting crops. Many of you may be wondering, how can you help? Chris Chaney, our applications expert, is going to go over what you can do to help the bees.
So how can we help? Well, according to an article published in the Journal of Science by Dave Golson and colleagues in March 2015, there are a couple of steps the agricultural industry could take to help increase bee populations. First, farmers could incorporate flower-rich environments into their farmlands. Widespread urbanization and farmland creation are some of the main causes for habitat loss in bees. Therefore, if we just add a couple of flowers to existing farmlands, we could help the bees have a place to pollinate and live. Secondly, cutting down on the use of pesticides by adopting more sustainable farming methods would greatly reduce the exposure bees have to our harmful chemicals. Lastly, enforcing quarantine measures on bee migration could prevent the spreads of parasites which are known to harm bee populations. Therefore, by replacing our current methods with the principles of integrated pest management, or IPM for short, preventative measures such as crop rotation and a stigmatized use of pesticides would greatly benefit the environment, reduce bee pesticide exposure, and increase farming profitability. Back to you, Lauren.
Wow, thank you, Chris. Those are some great ideas on how the world can help. In conclusion, we hope we have brought your attention to the issue of the rapid decrease in the bee population, which is ultimately affecting the environment. These bees play a major role in the pollination cycle of a flower, and if they continue to decline at an alarming rate, they will no longer be able to aid in this reproduction. We have informed you of the declining bee population, the effects the bees have on our world, and the ways the agriculture industry could fix this crisis. Therefore, we hope that you will use this information to help the bees. We love bees and everything they do for our environment. Say it with me, the bees needs.